Okay, so this is a quick video that will show you how you can invert the colors on scanned negative film with Silkypix. Now this scan is something that I made myself. I used a Panasonic Lumix G95, a film holder in my smartphone as a light source behind as a backlight for the film, and I took a photo, a raw file. Very important, shoot raw when you do that. So I scanned the film with my camera and I made it into a raw file that I can start processing. Now, newer versions of Silkypix actually have a tool to do that. There's the, as you can see here, negative film inversion tool. You click it, you select the borders of the film, just of the image, but don't include the sprocket all. So I prefer to select an area rather than just a point, but you can do it with a point as well. Do it like this, and boom, it gives you an image, an inversion. As you can see, though, that blue is very dominant in this image. Yeah, that's a problem when doing it manually, automatically. So there's a trick to that. Then if you have white in the image, you can simply go to the gray balance tool and select. I have a lot of snow here, so we can just select here, and there you have it. You can have the inverse. So that's the easy way of doing it. If you have an a more recent version of Silkypix, you can do it simply like this. But what if you didn't have a recent version, or what if you prefer to have more control over the process? Well, you can see initialize. I'm going to show you how you do it manually without using the film and the negative inversion tool. So the first step is to make sure that you crop the image so to have only photo and maybe a bit of the border here within that way. So you cropped it like that. Don't worry about it. Cropping in Silkypix is reversible, so that's not a problem. Also, so you only want to have the image and maybe a bit of the border, which you know that when you have inverted it, it should be black. If there is some discoloration to the film, if there is some light contamination to the film, then you should crop it out. If, for example, there was a red line here or some kind of contamination of the colors in the left side of the screen, you can easily just crop it out of the picture and adjust it for the actual image to make sure that the contamination does not affect your color adjustment. Okay, so there you have it. Now, after that, you have a personal selection that you can do for your own taste, which is selecting the color profile that you want for your image. Now, personally, what I found worked pretty well to give natural colors is the camera color natural setting from my camera, which generally gives me good results. But you can also adjust, standard, vivid, natural. This is something that you have to do at this step of the process, because you can't wait. Once you've done all the adjustment, when you've selected, you have to do the adjustments again. So you can see there's more profiles that Silkypix offers. For compatible, natural, faithful, and when you click faithful, you can have film color. Yeah. So there's a lot of options there. It's trial and error, what you prefer. Sometimes, maybe you need to switch profiles from different photos. That's up to you. And anyway, so my preference is to have the natural setting for my camera. Yeah, that's it. And then, wait, I have a bit of black here that I missed. There we go. Okay, so then you have to look at the histogram on the top right. Make sure that the red, green, and blue channels are all included in the histogram. Now you can change the color temperature to do that. Yeah, as you can see, the blue channel here is a bit annoying because it goes over the top. Something that you can do is reduce the contrast. There we go. So with the low contrast, it's easier to fit all the three curves into the histogram. And then you go to the tone curve setting. First thing you want to do is invert the colors. So you take, so you are in an RGB channel here. You take the top right, you bring it to the bottom, and you click the left, and you bring it to the top. Wait. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, so that's inverted. That inverted the colors, but you can see the colors are all off. There's blue domination. That's what the next step is for, which is we're going to go to every red, green, and blue channel, and we're going to correct the levels so that this section where we have data for is the entire. So we will expand that section to cover the entire histogram, and to do that, well, you could do it manually by moving the maximum and minimum value here, but you don't need to do that. You can just use this neat little tool, automatic level correction, under the channel selection. Click it. You do it for the green. You do it for the blue. And there we have it. We have inverted the colors. We have inverted film negative. The colors are looking pretty good, pretty natural. If you want, now sometimes this is relatively good. As you can see, the histogram on the top right, you know, you can also adjust the RGB again to, you know, expand the histogram. Now here you can see it's relatively good histogram to start with. You know, that there are few you know, it's not like there's a big spot on the histogram where there's no colors at all. But you know, if you want to darken it, you have to reduce the top. Yeah, it's very important because you've inverted the image. You inverted the RGB curve. So if you want to darken it, you reduce the maximum value, and if you want to brighten it, there we have it. So yeah, and so we have the colors. Now I zoomed in on the image. As you can see a lot of grain, but some of the grain here is artificial sharpening by the image. So you have the sharpening and noise reduction tools. Panasonic always uses some degree of sharpening and noise reduction on every photo, even at the lowest settings on the camera. So what I do here is I don't like artificial sharpening on my film, on my analog 35mm film photos. So I'm gonna remove all sharpening. There you go. Noise reduction, I mean, you can remove the noise reduction completely. Theoretically, it should give you a better look at the grain of the film, but an issue with that is that, you know, your sensor in your camera also produces noise and color distortion. So what I like to do is actually use color distortion and smooth it out in order to remove the colors. Now I lose a bit of the natural grain of the photo, but you know, that produces clear images that I like better. So now, what if you don't like some of the colors? Well, there is a fine color controller, but the issue with the fine color controller here is that you know, when you look at the color here, the circle, the value that you pointed to is the empty circle here. That if you see when I move it over the image, it moves, but it keeps in the middle. Why is that? Because the colors that it looks at are the original colors of the image, not the inverted colors. So if you want to use a fine color controller, I suggest you simply develop the raw file into a JPEG, and that when you have a JPEG, then you will be able to use this more correctly, because it will be the real colors. But other things that you can do, some trial and error when you change the colors. You know, if you wanted to make it pop more, you can say, oh, I want a vivid color profile. Well, try to show you. Okay. Oh, it's vivid. But you can see there's something weird going on, because yeah, it's more vivid, but you got blown outs here and you got dark areas of almost no data. So what happened? Well, because changing the color profile has actually moved the red, green, and blue channels. So you have to readjust them. Okay, so adjust the green, red, blue. So every time you change the color profile, you have to go back here and readjust it automatically. So, and here you see there's a, well, it may not be that much of a problem, but you can see the green, the blue line, the blue channel has gone over the top. So I'm going to reduce, yeah, even that, you have to adjust it again. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so adjusting it again. So that's vivid. So every profile will change the colors a bit. This is trial and error, what you prefer for yourself, what gives you the best results. There's a lot of selection. You have all the profiles on your camera. You have different profiles from Silkypix, which themselves have different color representations. So it's something that you can do. It's really trial and error. You have to select what works best for you, what you like from your colors. Is it more authentic colors, or more colors that pop out more? Personally, I prefer the two that I prefer are natural and Cine Light D, which work best for me. But it's up to you. Your photos, it's what you like. Now you can also automatize some of the process, because there's you can just create like a taste to start the process, like inverting the tone curve, selecting the color temperature, the sharpening, and the noise reduction. You can all make it. You can all start doing it, and then create a taste parameter. You can add taste here. I am here my first, so it's début négatif 2. Like when I start processing a photo, I can show you like how it works for me. Start the timer, like début négatif 2. Then, which as you can see, the color temperature is set. It sets it. The contrast, I put it lowest contrast. The temperature, the color profile, I choose the natural. Then sharpening, noise reduction, and I also already have done an inversion on the tone curve. So that already speeds up my process. So again, I can initialize, select début négatif 2, then I crop. Sorry, to have only the image here. Okay, then automatically correct red, green, blue, and then go back to RGB and adjust it a bit for preferences. And there you have it. I have successfully inverted camera film. Then I like also to go back and expand it to include the sprocket, because I like in my images to have the sprocket holes on both sides to show to everyone that yes, this is a 35mm film. There you go. So in like maybe 30-40 seconds, I've already inverted an image. Now of course what's gonna take time is to adjust it to my personal preference, but it's something that works very easily, very well, and that gives pretty good results, even compared to the the automatic process of the film negative tool that is included in the earlier, the more recent versions of Silkypix, but it is absent of the earlier versions. So I hope it may have helped someone there who's scanning films with a Panasonic camera. Good.